The morning light filtered through the blinds, and as I stirred awake, something felt wrong. The house was far too quiet. I pushed the covers aside, stepped into the hallway, and felt an eerie stillness. When I reached the living room, my breath caught. It was empty. No couch, no TV, not even the photos that once lined our shelves. Everything gone. I stood frozen, heart racing. At first, I thought we had been robbed. But the front door was locked, the windows unbroken. Nothing seemed forced. That's when I spotted the note on the kitchen counter. I recognized the handwriting instantly. It was his. It simply read, "Happy New Year, Natalie. I hope this fresh start is better than the last. Goodbye." My knees gave out, and I sank into the nearest chair, trying to steady my thoughts. Just yesterday we were together. Now, he was gone without a word, without a warning. 3 years earlier, I'd met him, Lucas, at the consulting firm where I had just started an internship. He was a team supervisor, sharp-witted, quietly confident. Our connection was instant. What began as professional chemistry soon evolved into something deeper. 8 months later, he proposed during a snowy weekend getaway. It felt like the start of a beautiful forever. After the wedding, everything moved quickly. Lucas got an incredible offer from a rival firm, nearly doubling his income. We moved into a bigger house, talked about starting a family, and built dreams like we had all the time in the world. My own career was progressing too, though it brought with it a pressure I hadn't been ready for. Late nights, longer hours, and eventually, wine. At first, it was just a glass here and there to take the edge off. But it grew. One glass turned into 2, then the whole bottle. Lucas noticed. He approached it with concern, gently at first, then more firmly. I brushed him off, told him I was managing fine. But I wasn't. Things spiraled until one night, I blacked out completely. That moment changed everything. I checked myself into a recovery program and took 6 months off work. Lucas didn't leave. He stood by me through it all. Supported me, believed in me. That loyalty, that love. I thought it could survive anything. When I returned to work, I found myself assigned to a new supervisor, Ethan. He had a boyish charm, always upbeat, always engaging. Lucas didn't like him. Said something about him felt off, manipulative even. I thought he was being paranoid. Ethan seemed harmless enough. As fate would have it, a colleague went on leave, and I ended up working longer hours with Ethan. Late emails, back and forth texts, and overtime meetings became the norm. Lucas voiced his unease, noticing how often Ethan's name came up, how glued I was to my phone. I insisted it was strictly professional. One night, after a particularly stressful week, I broke down in the office. Ethan brought me coffee, asked how I was doing. I opened up more than I should have, about the strain at home, the guilt I carried, how I still struggled with self-worth. In a moment of weakness, I hugged him. And then I kissed him. It wasn't passionate. It wasn't even wanted. It was messy, confused, and deeply regrettable. We pulled away quickly, ashamed. We promised to keep our distance and act like nothing had happened. But you can't erase a moment like that. People around us started noticing. The way we acted around each other, the subtle shift in our dynamic. And eventually, the rumors made their way to Lucas. He confronted me one night, eyes filled with confusion and pain. He asked me directly. I lied. I said it was office gossip, nothing more. I didn't tell him about the kiss. I thought hiding it would save us. I told myself I was protecting what we had, but deep down, I knew I was only delaying the inevitable. As the year came to a close, I made efforts to fix things. I tried reconnecting with Lucas, cooking his favorite meals, talking about leaving my current project. Slowly, he started to relax. We agreed that the new year would be our fresh start. Then came the company's New Year's Eve party. Ethan suggested Lucas attend, and I agreed, hoping it would ease tensions. That night, I made a choice I'd come to regret for the rest of my life. I hadn't touched alcohol since my recovery, but the atmosphere, the pressure, it wore me down. I convinced myself that one drink wouldn't hurt. 1 became 3, then 5. Lucas tried to get me to stop, pulled me aside, clearly worried. I brushed him off. Later that night, just before midnight, I found myself sitting between him and Ethan. As the countdown began, I raised my glass, toasted with Ethan and hugged him. Then I kissed him. This time it wasn't hidden. Lucas saw everything. The next morning, I woke up alone. The house was empty, and so was I. I tried calling, messaging, no response. In a panic, I reached out to Ethan. We met at a cafe, and he told me everything. How Lucas had seen the kiss. How he had quietly gotten up, gone home, and started clearing everything out while I slept. Now months later, I live in a small apartment. It's quiet. Too quiet. No framed memories. Just walls and silence. I've remained sober, but the absence of alcohol doesn't fill the hole left by losing him. Lucas never reached out again. And I don't blame him. He stood by me through my darkest chapters. And I gave him reasons to doubt me when he needed reassurance the most. Love doesn't always end with screaming matches or grand betrayals. Sometimes it slips away through silence, unspoken resentment, and the choices we make when we're hurting. If someone stands beside you when you're at your worst, don't give them a reason to walk away when you're finally getting better.